And we are back. That's right. On the Route Podcast, episode 29. This one, I think we probably gonna call it Postal Love. You know what I mean?
Is it really love? Really love?
Well, it might be.
Or is it?
You know what I mean?
Real love?
We got a special guest with us today. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a carrier. He's actually married to a carrier as well. So that's what the dynamic of this episode is gonna be about: is postal relationships and how we navigate through that. When you have someone that's a spouse that does the same job as you know how that occurs. There's a lot of people out there that's probably thinking about dating somebody they work with, you know what I mean? And maybe this will help you make that decision whether or not to go ahead or not do it at all. So before we get into that, as always, got my brothers here to introduce themselves. To my left.
This is Black. We're back in here giving y'all information. This is going to be fun. Young man over here, Jason, you know, you can see if he, what he been doing throughout his career in the postal service.
Be more than I am also a fellow person that's married to someone in the post office, so I have some comments and questions for him too, so let's get it started.
Yeah, and this is Aaron. I ain't married, but I'm about to get some jewels from y'all.
And our special guest, could you please introduce yourself to our audience, tell them your name, tell them how many years of service you have, and you can mention the stations you've been at if you want to.
Jay Will, we talking, this is what, year 18? I'm currently at Roxborough Station. Before that, it was only been 2. No, it's been 3 actually. Schuylkill, a short stint at North Philly when I made regular, back to Schuylkill, now we at Roxborough.
Okay. That's J. Will, he said 18 years of service, right?
Almost, yeah.
In the carrier. So, I mean, I think the first question is like, how were things when you first started? Is it similar to what it is now, or is it totally different?
Oh, it's totally different, man. When I started, PTFs were, exactly, PTFs, this whole, I equate it to, it's like, if you went to, I think I probably told y'all this analogy, it's like when you go to a school that you have to take a test to get into, you have to get accepted into, and then they switch and then they just let everybody in the neighborhood go to. Mm-hmm. It brings the quality of the product down some, not gonna lie. So you see a whole lot of things that happen. They can't. When I got hired and I was in my class, my recruiting class, whatever you want to call it. They said some lady walked in. I think she might have been at the time. She might have been like the postmaster. She was something high up. I forget. She walked in. She says, "Listen, there's a few things that will not be tolerated. There won't be any fighting. If you fight, you're fired. If you steal mail, you're fired." And I forget the third one, but I've seen all 3 of those things happen, and everybody has kept their job.
Damn.
So it's definitely either she was talking shit, or the post office has changed, but it's definitely changed.
So do you feel has it gotten better in terms of business wise, in terms of how they pay us, in terms of the hours? Has it gotten worse?
Well, you got to realize when I started, they were talking about the post office being broke, and I think, in some kind of way, it was in the sense that they were paying that whole retirement. I forget what exactly it is, but they kept saying they're putting so much money into this retirement thing, this like far off in the future thing, that they're like struggling to make a profit. Now that they don't do that, you look at the scanners and they tell you they made 7 point something billion in profit in 3 months. Mm-hmm. So. Whatever they did, so now, I mean, I was worried back then. When you work for a company and you're new at it, and everybody keeps telling you, we're broke, you thinking, damn, well, am I going to actually be able to, you know, make a living out of this? Will I actually be able to, you know, make a future out of this? But now that I see that, you know, those record-breaking numbers, my only question is, where's my cut?
There we go.
Yo, that's the same question everybody has. Where is the money?
My thing is, if you want to show that in the scanner for everybody to see, that's kind of, and you're not cutting. Trying not to cut. If you don't give people a break of that, that's like if I walk into the room and I'm like, yo, I just made $1,000. Y'all gonna be looking at me like, well, how much of that am I getting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially since y'all helped me get it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying we need, and the thing that really is like unintentional slap in the face is, I'm sure we've all heard, you know, what UPS is doing, and that's no hate towards them. Them brothers is out there. I love my UPS guy. My wife loves him more than I do because she stays shopping. But
Let me be shopping.
it's like, you know, seeing their situation, I think we deserve just as much as they do.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So, you know, if not a little bit more, shit, we stop at every house. Not just the ones with the packages, every house.
Yeah.
And got access to every to different stuff too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
apartment
yeah.
buildings, all that.
Yeah, buildings and schools.
My thing is, for you as being a carrier and being married, and you and your wife work at the same station before?
We weren't married, but we met at the same station.
Met at the
We
same
were
station.
both subs at the station.
How did that work?
In what sense? What do you mean?
Like, how did that work, going to work together for however short a time it was? Like, going to work together, working, like, because, you know, supervisors get out of pocket.
Well, luckily, I don't want to say luckily. She's probably the second nicest person I've ever met in my life, and I'm not saying that because she's my wife. She just is. The first nicest person is her mom. Like she gets that from her mom. So she's never really had any problems with management and things of that nature where I felt I had to say something or ruffle my feathers in any way. Like, people just genuinely love her. So it's never been a situation where she had to talk me off of a ledge or anything like that. And I'm smart enough to know that this is how I, you know, make a living. So I'm not going to jeopardize that unless it's something extremely egregious that happened. Something like, aside from you putting your hands on her, anything else is to me is trivial.
Understood. So when you first met her, like, can you take us through that? Like, when you saw her, you was like, damn.
Well, when I
it was like interaction. You know what I mean?
when we met, I was already at the station, and somebody was nice enough to, when I first got there, you know, it's one of them things where, you know, it's a new job. You're in a new place. It's not now like if they hire you, they'll almost work with you to send you somewhere that you know. So you're a little bit more back then it was not. I would, matter of fact, we had place cards, and we sat down and it said what station you at. And I remember sitting across from somebody, and they was like, I forget where they had. No, they were South Philly. And they had Germantown. Well, I'm like, I'm from Germantown. So we asked, like, can we switch? They was like, no.
Oh,
This is just where you go.
mm-hmm.
So I'm in South Philly. I've never, other than going, I think the only time I've ever been to South Philly is like a couple of Sixers games when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know anything about South Philly. So I was out there struggling. I was lucky enough that there was a dude there that he was a sub too, but he had a couple years in, and he knew that I was about to struggle. And what he would do is he would bang out his route, and he would find me, and he would like take 2 or 3 streets off, being like, I'm gonna bang this out for you. And as I got stronger as a carrier, I didn't need that anymore, and he faded off. He made regular, so she came in, so I paid it forward. It just
Wow.
Okay.
and that's and I would tell people to this day, like I'll tell people, like, you know, if I show them something or I tell them something that I know, just send it to the next person. Just pay it forward.
Okay.
I don't know if I answered your question all the way.
Not really.
No,
You kind of did.
no. She was the post office. I don't think is known for. Damn, how do you say this without getting killed?
Just say it.
Well, let's just say that she was to look the way she did was very surprising. It was like, dang, she fine. Like, what the hell she doing here? Like, because a lot of women, because it's a manual job, you know. So any woman that goes into this, I salute them, because this is not, you know, you're not gonna be out there looking cute. You're not gonna be out there, you know, your nails are gonna get chipped, your feet are gonna hurt, your back is gonna ache. So for women to take on this kind of job, I definitely salute them, and because it's impressive.
So, being the fact that I'm also married to somebody else in post office, so like, how was the situation like after y'all go home? Like how do you guys like it's easier if somebody dates somebody that's relatable that can understand like we're working the gruesome hours. Like, all right, you can feed off each other. Like, well, this is what I'm going through, or you know, because most people say dating somebody in the post office is kind of hard. Like, well, like they don't understand like the stuff you go through or the hours or something like that. Like just being out late. How is that easy enough for you? Being the fact that your significant other is somebody that you know does the same thing that you, and like you kind of feed off certain things too with each other.
Well, the beautiful thing about it is the post office is a very unique place to work in the sense that most other jobs, you know what time you're walking in and you know what time you're walking out. The post office, depending on the day, you know, you don't know, especially if you're on the overtime list, because you know you can get an hour one day, you can get 3 the next, you can get none the next. So so, and the lingo is different. Like we're the only company where a day off is not called a day off; it's called a drop day. So when you're talking to somebody who doesn't work for the post office, and you say, "Well, I can do it tomorrow; it's my drop." First thing, huh? So when you don't have to go through certain barriers because that person already speaks the lingo, it definitely helps. It can hurt in the sense that there are times where this is every day. When I clock out, I don't want to talk about that place. And the fact that, you know, she's a woman and she loves to talk, I'll get home and it'll just be story after story about the post office, and to the point where sometimes you gotta be like, yo, I don't want to hear about that right now.
Yeah, I get that.
It can be overwhelming at times.
Yeah, it's just kind of reverse for me because I'm the one that go home. I tell my wife about stuff, and it's like the fact that I explain the story. She's like, "Look, I don't want to hear that," and the fact that like at least y'all in the same area.
Does she backhand you when she says that?
No, yeah.
Feel a little blood in the corner of your mouth, like, okay, I guess it's time to shut up.
Yeah.
No, but it's the same. Being the fact that, like I said, at least y'all work in the city. Like my situation is a little more different because the fact that she works in the AOs and I work in the city, so feeding all different things. Like I tell her stuff. She like, so for instance, the rules. She like, I couldn't work in the city because y'all too lenient. I said I couldn't work out there because y'all too strict. Cause the AOs, like, I'm like I said now, like the situation we got now, they moving their station to the main hub out there in Southeastern. So she told me the other day, she was like, look, I gotta get myself together. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I gotta buy the tie, I gotta have long sleeve shirt on, I gotta have socks on, I gotta have basically from head to toe because they said at the station now they got somebody there waiting for you to check you from head to toe, regardless, man for man, woman for woman, checking you head to toe if you're in uniform. If not, they'll take you off the clock for that. That's the easiest thing they can get you off the clock for. That's the one thing she was like, you selling.
Sounds crazy.
That sounds so counterproductive because the idea is to get the job done.
Right.
You're sending people home for wearing a short sleeve shirt. Isn't that like how does that help the business?
Listen, I understand that, you know, we represent the post office when we step out of those doors, but I mean, if we talking like you gonna send somebody home because they don't got on the right socks?
Yeah,
like,
it's insane.
Like that's military thinking, and it's like. Like you said, the standards have changed now.
Right.
The majority of people that are going for this job are not military people, so it's not going to work. That will work for the guys who came from the service to the post office because they already used to that type of rhetoric.
Right.
Like that's probably 5% of the people going out for the job now. Somebody that's a veteran.
I don't even understand why we still use military time.
Yeah,
that's wild to me.
Well, I think because when the country started, the post office, Paul Revere, was part of the whole.
No, I get it, but I don't know why we're still doing it in 2024.
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
That's wild to me.
You know, that's another one of those grandfather things.
I've been doing it 18. I still can't tell military time. I can go up to like, I mean, if I really sat there and thought about it.
Well,
like,
it don't go to 24.
Yeah, I understand, but it's like if I look at the joint and say 16, I'm like, well, hold on a second.
Because when it goes 12, 13, 14, 15.
Right.
You just keep the numbers going after 12, afternoon.
Well, military time, I could tell the hours and I could tell the half hours, but in between minutes.
Oh yeah,
that's a little weird. Like a unit could be 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
All right, so think of it like this. All right, so what would you tell people that are in the post office that are probably dating somebody that's in the post office in the same craft? Do you think that it helped that you guys are in the same craft, or would you say that maybe dating someone in a different craft might be a little better?
Well, my first thing would be don't date anybody at the station that you work at. I think to me, well, you know what? I mean, I don't think we could function if we worked at the same station and lived together. That would be too much. There's too much of a good thing. Like that's just there has to be some kind of separation.
I would agree with you on that. I think there's probably an age limit to that because when I first started, there was a couple that worked in 19102, and they were married, both carriers. They carpooled to work together. The routes were right next to each other to the point where they shared the same relay boxes.
Damn.
But these are people that are pushing 60 plus.
Well, no.
So I guess maybe they was cool with that because I think they met each other in the post office.
I think that's more so their temperament towards each other than anything else. Like I couldn't do that. I couldn't see you 24. I would lose my appreciation for you. There are times where I don't see her and I'm like, damn, I miss my wife or something like that. If she's always around, and I don't just think that's the post office. If you work with somebody in an office building, if you work with somebody in a restaurant, and they're constantly in your face, and then when you go home, you're constantly in each other's face. It's like you start to take each other for granted. I truly believe that.
But then, I mean, we just had somebody on, like, we had a married couple that worked at the same station. It's just station right here. We had somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, it's just
Each
more
his
so.
own. Everybody's
Yeah,
different.
it's definitely
I
a
couldn't
part.
do
It
that.
definitely is. Like, I couldn't do it. Like, somebody asked me and my wife, I'm like, look, I couldn't do it. I'm like,
And the post office is also one of the most. If HR existed in the post office, we would all be fired.
hey, it's toxic. It's
All
toxic.
of us.
Yeah.
The things that we say to each other are crazy.
Okay, all right.
Outlandish.
I was about to object, but then you said the things that we say to each other.
I would have been fired 378,000 times with some of the shit that comes out of my mouth. And I've said it towards some of y'all.
I wouldn't have been. I don't say nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't recall that, so.
I don't believe it.
Yeah. So, the post office is different. So, with that being said, I don't even think I would want to work next to somebody I'm with for the simple fact that I know how other people would talk to, and I might not like it, or you know what I mean. And you look across y'all over there flirting because y'all having a long conversation. Like it could get sticky depending on your mentality, depending on how you look at things, depending on if you're a jealous person or not, or insecure, whatever. It's a million things that could go into that. Luckily for me, I didn't have to experience that because we didn't work together all that long. After I would say, God, now you're making me go back. But I made regular. But we weren't together when she first got there. It wasn't like she started on a Wednesday and a Thursday we were dating. It was more so we were friends.
Can you take us through that? You take us how y'all came friends.
Oh, so like I said, with the whole paying it forward, when she got there, I knew that she would struggle. So I did what the guy did for me, and I would call her up, and where you at? I'm on such and such. How much time you got left? All right, I wouldn't tell her I was coming over. I go over there, I see her. Give me this. You go back to the box. You work on that other stuff until she got strong, and then she got strong to the point where she was getting done early. And I'm gonna go back to the office. No, you're not gonna go back to the office because if you go back to the office, they're gonna give you more work. So it's the little things that you pass down and things of that nature. So we became friends, and one thing led to another, and we started dating. All right, go.
And pretty much what you were saying was like when she gets done a little early, about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, because that's your travel time. Why would you go back? Like when you don't have enough time to get to work.
Or like on a light day when she like an hour ahead of time. I'm like, don't go back. And this was before the GPS joint, so it's not like they sitting there looking at you. I'm like, you're gonna go back and they're gonna give you more work. So why would you give yourself more work? Go back.
And then she probably wouldn't have enough time to get the work they're giving her done because they give us work assignments in 30-minute increments. Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
See, you got it easy. Like my situation was my wife. I was already in the post office. She came in 2-3 months after her prior. I was already a CCA, and she was asking me a million questions. I'm like, well, what do you do with this? What do you do with that? I'm like, look, you got to get into the job. Like, the funny story, I sold it on the podcast before, so I'm at work.
You told her before, I don't need to hear it. Let's go more smooth.
Yo, there you go. But no, so she taking the driver test, right? So she's nervous. She at Lindbergh. She like, I'm doing. I'm like, yo, relax. Take the jacket off. Like, you gotta get comfortable. Like, I'm on a block. I'm like, well, you gotta relax.
Y'all was dating at this time?
We were just like to start talking. Like, so it might have been like around I met her. Me and wife started doing like October. It might have been like late November.
Was
like,
it
early
just a
December.
coincidence that y'all was in the post office, or she did it because you was in there?
No, she seen that I was doing it. She asked if she was applying to it, so she's like, all right, cool. Like she had questions and Dale intel detail, and I gave her information. Then we started talking from there because we had something in common. Like, I was
The fact
like,
that she was getting information from you was nuts.
This
I'm surprised she still got a job, bro.
No, she really bought a book. Like she way better than me. Like
So what she did was she asked you something, and then when you told her, she did the complete opposite.
not necessarily more. So I gave her the right stuff because I was already a CCA, and I was like, so I gave her the right stuff.
But she made regular first, right?
Yeah, she did.
She gives me manager vibes, yo.
Yeah.
Nah, she not man. She not
Yes.
manager
Like,
vibe.
please
No.
don't let her get hurt on the route.
Yeah.
No.
You don't need another person to manage.
No, she not manager vibe. She actually like what she doing. Basically, they actually try to push her to be like a shop steward. I'm like, no. I said, hell no. I said, I ain't going up there to kill nobody. Just shop steward. I'm not doing that. I about to go there a couple of times for that, but I was like, because
Go
words
where?
changed. Her station, like a couple
And
times.
do what?
What do you mean do what? What you mean handle my business, sir? What you mean go do what? Everything fun and games, so you got to
You was gonna go there, went around, and give him a stern look.
No, everything fun and games. So
What I've learned about the union is that they only can do but so much. And management really has the leverage. So you yourself have to union yourself to a certain degree.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning like, all right, so say for
Give me an
instance,
example. Yeah.
say for instance you have a situation where where management has done something that broke the law based on the contract, based on what the agreement is.
Oh,
based
by the
on
way,
what-
I meant to bring my free Rick T-shirt, but I'm gonna have that ready.
Yo.
But based on that situation, you know, they say they violated the contract.
Right.
The union, only thing they can really do is point out the fact that they violated the contract and say, hey, look, you need to honor the contract. And they could be stubborn and say, no, I'm not going to do it. Then the union has to say, all right, well, then we're going to have to go above you, which is a preliminary step they have to take, which takes a lot of time. Now, why I say that is that you yourself as an individual, at the end of the day, if you're going to do a job, and you can attest to this, you've been here for 18 years, it pays to understand the company you work for. It pays to understand what the company's about, what the leverage that your union has, the leverage your management has, et cetera, et cetera. So you know the proper moves to make so that you don't compromise yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes with our job, you're going to have to spend your own money to make things happen in an accelerated pace. Which is the downside, that's just how our union is. It's how, how it's set up. Because other jobs, other companies, the union doesn't have to be, they don't have to play the maze game with management. They can say, look, either this happens or this happens.
Right.
But because our union is employed by management, because that's just how, because they're also workers that have routes, that have assignments, things of that nature, it's kind of, shaky.
Well, I can't speak to any other union in terms of workforce because I've only known this one.
Mm-hmm.
The job I had prior to this, I only had 2 jobs. There was no union, so this was all new to me coming in. I don't know how much y'all have spoken on the union in these podcasts, but the problem with the union, the problem with the union is like they're like a cop with no gun, and what I mean by that is there's no threat of a strike. So at the end of the day, they can only do but so much. They can't say, well, if you don't do this, that, and the third, we're fucking walking. You will find somebody to deliver this mail, deliver these packages, sort this, do whatever. They can't do that, so management already is starting off at an advantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing that, and again, I don't know how other unions work, but the thing about that is very frustrating for me is that they can basically stretch something out that should only take a week or two in
Yes.
terms of beginning, middle, and end, and they can stretch it out, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, no, that's see,
The thing you just said about
Yeah.
paying, most people don't have your personality.
Mm-hmm.
Most people won't do the things that you'll do, and
Yeah.
I know I'm saying that because I know you.
Yeah,
Most people will sit back and wait for the union to fix whatever problem there is.
yeah, but that's because they don't understand the nature of the business, and they don't understand like the situation and people's leverage.
And some people might not have the money either.
as well. But see, we try not to jump on these capitalistic topics on the pod, but it happens every pod. It's
Right.
happening. I think that's how we keep getting our subscribers because we're giving them, extra stuff. But I'll say this much: if I was the president of a union, and especially for a job like this, where it seems like management constantly violates our actual contracts, our memorandum, I would have not say on retainer, but I would have relationships with legal people. So that way, that if somebody from my actual craft has a situation or a problem, I could divert them to that legal person because I'm giving that person business. And if you want to spend your money to hire that person to represent you for whatever the situation is, because I know our hands are tied at a certain point, and legally I can't do anything. But what I can do is usher you to this person who can help you with getting this expedited.
Right.
I would have that already in stash because I understand the nature of the business that I'm in.
Now wait a minute. Now are you talking about going as far as to like sue an individual in the
Oh,
ball?
yeah, absolutely. Or as far as even having somebody, because sometimes it's like, America is based on capitalism, right? So at the end of the day, it's based on money and who you know. Certain people will respond to certain other people based on their positions because they already have a pre-consumption in their head. Like somebody could be in management and think that because just because you're a carrier, that they don't have to really worry about you, or as long as you playing by the book, meaning you're not doing some illegal shit. You're playing by the book, playing your position. They think that they're above you because they're in management and you're a carrier. But now when somebody that's an outside source, like a lawyer, calls them and says, "Hey, listen, I heard you've done this, that, and the third. You need to do this, that, and the third, or this is what's going to happen." Now it expedites what you need done because they can't play with that person like they play with you.
Okay, now let me.
So you know what I'm saying?
I hear you. Let me play devil's advocate because that can get muddy. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have a situation and you go to this lawyer or attorney type of figure. Let's say they still don't, acquiesce to what you want them to do. So are you allowed to sue the individual person or do you sue the post? Like how does that
Well,
work?
see, I think now I'm not a lawyer, but I think from my understanding of what the situation would be, like say, let's take for instance, you and your wife, you guys work in the post office, right?
Right.
Let's say your wife had a situation and you couldn't handle it only but so far. You guys had to go a different route to get the results you want. And the result is everything going back to normal. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that legal person could contact on behalf of your wife and say, "Hey, look, I know this is going on, blah, 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 blah. There's against, a memorandum X, X, Y, Z. This needs to happen or this is going to happen." 9 times out of 10, because of the job and the nature that we're in, we don't need the bad press. So things get expeditedly done, especially if the other person has leverage, the individual that has the legal person. You understand what I'm saying? Like I don't think it gets muddy when there's no leverage on that person's side.
But when the lawyer goes to make so you're saying they're suing an individual.
No, they're actually because if it happened
So
while
the
they're actually
entity
at the job,
opposed
the lawyer would tell you I have to go for the job because it happened while you were working, which expedites the situation to get fixed because the job does not want to pay for that.
Or because they're not going to contact the individual, they're going to contact whoever's the head of the job, the postmaster general. And then it's just going to keep coming down the ladder to figure out who it is. And eventually they're just going to stop it because, like you said, they don't want the bad press.
Well,
So it just get resolved.
Here's why I don't think of course that's a great idea. Here's why I don't think it'll work because if you have that legal entity, then you're pretty much taking 90% of the power away from the union. They're just a middleman at this point. It's like all right, you're the carrier, you have a situation. I'm giving it to the union. They're dragging their feet, they're kicking rocks. Okay, I'm going to go above you.
Well, it's not even them dragging their feet. Is they can only do but so much because I think like I said, for people that are watching the podcast, talking about the job, where our unions are set up, all they can do is point out when you're not following the contract. They can't make you follow the contract. Like they can't just run in and grab you by the arm and put you in a figure 4 leg lock like you're out of the contract. So you can't do that. They got to tell you, you have to do this, that, and the third, or we have to file more paperwork. And that's where it gets dragged out because now you're depending on someone else on the other side of the paperwork to do what they're supposed to do instead. A, B, C, whatever.
I think if you had something in the contract that said that any kind of disciplinary action has to have a timeline on it, then I think you can avoid everything else. Like
Yeah,
this has to be resolved within a month.
Yeah. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because when you are married to somebody in the post office,
Right.
things like that might happen. So I think it's best for people that are in relationships to understand that if something happens to your spouse or somebody that you have a relationship with, that there are steps and measures that you can take so that you can get it resolved without you, the spouse, getting involved and making it, like you said, muddier than it possibly could be. You know what I mean? Because I know, like you said, it has to be something egregious. It has to be something over the top. Everybody doesn't have the same temperament that you have.
Right.
So I think it's important to point out to people that when you are dating somebody that does the same job or you're married to somebody that's in the same job, figure out exactly what the parameters of the job are legally so that way you can address the problems as they happen so you don't react emotionally. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the biggest thing is that you really have to think beforehand because a hot head, y'all fuck around and y'all both be off the clock. So you can't. I mean, if you were talking to a 23-year-old me, then yeah, there would be a problem. Like, she'd be looking at me like, damn, how are we gonna pay these bills if you out here too? The 43-year-old me is wise enough to know that, again, unless it's something stupidly insane that has happened to my wife, then I'm not going. Somebody has to be there to foot the bill.
Yeah.
Like you sit back and relax. I got these bills. There has to be a cooler head because if you don't like the way this supervisor is talking to your girl or your wife or whoever it is, you can't. Now you're going to have beef. Like there's always going to be times where people are going to clash. You can't be the significant other and take it upon yourself that every situation that goes down that you got to play Superman.
Exactly.
She's not Lois Lane. You're not Superman. You got to let that shit play out. Unless he touches her, or it's something like ridiculous to where she's like, I feel very uncomfortable.
It's like a mental health thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Then everything else, my suggestion would be to let that rock. You just be there to, make whoever it is, either your wife or your husband, feel better when they're not at the job.
Well, no, prior to the situation, I had a situation like that. My wife's situation before, where the fact that it's only a certain amount of black people at this station, basically. Like, in her at the time, it's only two female carriers at the time. And the thing is, before they were harassing her, kind of like saying like, "Oh, you're walking too slow," or "Why are you asking for time?" Like, you guys out here walking drunk. I'm like, and that got me by kind of further. I'm like, what? He told you walking drunk? I'm like, who is it supposed to tell somebody walking drunk? I'm like, you wouldn't say this to a Caucasian or female or male alone, and she's only one or two of the black women at the carrier station. Why would you say that? Well, I was like, well, just let it go. I'm like, no, he's doing that because of the fact that you're the black carrier, basically, you're not a hot-headed person, basically. I'm like, I said, yeah, like Jaden just said, I couldn't have been there. I'd have said to somebody, my man, who are you talking about somebody walking drunk, basically? Like, what is the situation that comes to it? Like, you don't say nothing to these white carriers that do 10 times worse things that are egregious. And the fact that that person right here that's always on time, follows by the book, and does everything to the T, why would you even do that? Like, I say, like, you have prejudice stations to the point where that do that things to get more so of a reaction. I'm always like kind of a comment more than I am. Like, you're not gonna get too much reaction out of it to the point unless you push to the edge to the point where like enough's enough. And that's what that being too. Like,
Well, here's my pushback. Go ahead.
I think management acts like that because there's nothing to actually really stop them. Like Rick said, the union has certain steps they have to follow. Like, when you do grievances and stuff like that.
right.
But there's nothing that I've read in the contract or anything to stop them from doing what they're doing. Because you'll follow a grievance, and what do they say after the grievance? They'll pay you a certain amount of money depending on the grievance.
Yeah, or time.
But that doesn't stop the supervisor or manager from doing what they're doing to do it again to somebody else or to you again.
Well, no, the thing about that with how they got this person out of here, they put a certain amount of statements in it, and they sent it to almost then.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When your wife was new to the post office when all this started happening?
No, she was already regular at the time. She was regular. She's a first year regular at the time.
She made regular within a year?
No, I'm saying with the time happened, she was a regular already.
At the time.
Well, my question is, are you sure that whoever was saying that stuff hadn't said it to anybody else before?
Yeah, like basically they haven't said somebody of other ethnic group basically wise. Because like I said, the station
So
group,
they never.
they don't push like so. Basically, it'd be like, all right, we're all here basically, and they'll say something to. They won't say something until John Doe, A, B, and C third, or Sarah basically because they're of ethnic group. But they'll say to us the fact that all right, because it is
So they were
like
being racist and
it is
sexist.
being racist sexist basically point like. But now the thing is, they do now they'll bring somebody in here of ethnic group basically say, all right, well now you can't say nothing. But it's like even still, you're kind of just talking biased if you someone basically like,
So
all
the
right,
person that said it to her, were they white?
yeah, it's
Well,
supposed to.
see, my thing is like I think the proper response when things like that may occur is you don't really have to say anything. All you have to do is just be present. You know what I'm saying? Like when situations like that happen, if you just take your wife to work one day and introduce yourself to the man, say, how you doing? I'm such husband. That right there sends off a signal to that individual. Or if you know if it's your wife coming with you and she dropping you off, she introduces herself to the female manager. Now in their mind, they see the other person that you deal with. So that might affect how they talk to you after that in terms of, because in the back of their mind, they thinking like, I don't want to piss this person off.
No, but see,
I'm going to have to probably deal with this person.
now see the thing. I came up there before, basically in my uniform. I seen the super. I haven't seen the postmaster. I was like the radio officer because I was there a couple of times, like dropped her off or been there. Like had to use the bathroom like prior to dropping her off. Basically, like I seen certain people in there. Basically, and I know certain people that she's a affiliate or a friend with at that point too. So I didn't catch to see him, and like he's going down. But the thing is, now it's even worse because there's a female postmaster and there's a female supervisor. So the thing is, being the fact that I'm a man compared to a woman, like if they do say something, it's like, all right, well, she can handle something more so because it's female to female more so like, well, not being intimidated. Well,
No, but what I'm saying is like when you make yourself a prayer, like you and your wife have been in this district for the whole entire time, almost 20 years. At this point, y'all probably know collectively a lot of people. You know what I mean? Some have become people in supervision that probably were carriers and y'all were carriers. So people know that you guys are married. So the fact that your wife is a nice person is a plus, but also don't for a second that people don't know who you are still.
yeah.
And they know exactly who she's attached to. And that might play a way in how they treat her. Because people that are smart try to not cross certain lines that they know that could end up happening. And they keep a mental log in their head that, okay, this person is with that person.
Right.
I can't just talk any type of way to this person no matter what the situation is because that person might show up one day. So I don't feel like dealing with that.
Well, I think everything you said is true. I think you also have to. There has to be I don't even know how to. Like if I'm a supervisor, I'm a male supervisor, and I'm 5'6" and 120 pounds, and I'm just on your wife's ass, not literally, but I'm just every day I got something to say. And then a guy that's 6'1", 6'2" comes in there, and he's like, "Yo, nice to meet you," but he not smiling, or the smile doesn't reach his eyes. Then it's like, "Oh shit!" But if the husband comes in and he's 5'6" and I'm 6'3", and he comes in and introduces himself, I don't know if that's going to change anything.
But see, now that would be an individual that's not that intelligent.
Yeah.
Because, we don't know where people's mental state is at.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's
'Cause
true.
Just
Like
because
24.
just because he's 5'6" does not mean he doesn't have something that can chop you down to whatever the level of the ground is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
We
people
talking
talk-
some felonious shit in here, gentlemen.
I'm just saying, we're being realistic. When people, like you said before, if it's something egregious, you don't know what a person will do for their spouse. You know what I mean?
Well, my
Like,
thing is, if it
because
gets
this
to
could
the
be her
point,
crying in the car on the way home. You as a man, you're gonna react differently.
That's
to that.
different.
that's
Yeah,
true.
that's
At the
true.
same time, if it's getting to that point, I feel that I'm not the only person that should know about it.
Yeah.
But meaning that my wife should have, or my husband should have made somebody else more aware of
Shop
it
steward.
before it even got to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I'm like, no, not before. Like, cause she should talk to me before anything.
Yeah.
So, but before it gets to tears or before it gets to a certain amount of frustration, my question is, who have you talked to besides me?
Mm-hmm.
Go above them. And if you haven't done that, then you're not helping the situation either.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, and then if you're going above people's heads and nothing's getting done, then shit has to get handled. Like you can. We're on a podcast, but y'all, once we turn this off, I'll tell you how I really feel. But you have to. But yeah, I mean, there's a conversation, and you can go to somebody's job and have a conversation with somebody without it turning physical.
Absolutely.
You can
yeah.
say,
Yeah.
you know, like,
I mean,
like
now,
this.
now listen, the proper way to do it is for that individual that you're speaking on behalf of, is to let the other, the perpetrator know that this person wants to have a conversation with you. Let them know ahead of time.
Exactly.
Right.
You just don't just show up, like, you know what I mean? Like try to organize a meeting, so to speak.
And don't show up with the intent to do anything.
Exactly, yes.
When you show up, the intent should be 100% verbal.
Yes,
Yeah.
and notify the person. This person said they want to speak to you, concerning blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? And then if you don't want to speak if that person doesn't want to speak, then that individual will speak to the person above your head.
Right.
So a conversation is going to happen regardless. They're trying to give you the opportunity to have the conversation so it doesn't get you in further trouble.
But see, we're having this conversation, and everybody in this room is over 30.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that would play to somebody who's 22 and don't know shit.
Well, that's why, we've always said on this podcast, like, I think when it comes to management, they have to keep that in mind. You have to be in tune with, society.
Well,
You have to be in tune with the mental state of different generations. Because you could be somebody that has 30 years in, right?
Right.
And when you started, the people that was 20, the way they act was not the way that they act.
Right. The thing is, because the post office, we're taking it back to, people, the whole school thing where people don't get accepted anymore. They just let everybody in.
Mm-hmm.
You should know that when you letting these people in, that these people will take it up a notch.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
And so you, as a supervisor or a manager, you should have enough sense to know that these are people literally fresh off the street.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them probably don't have nothing to lose. Some of them probably might have records. Some of them might have personality issues, anger issues. It would behoove you to conduct yourself in a personal manner, because if you don't, Lord help you.
But
If some of these people in here, you can see the people that come in and be like, oh, this dude right here, yeah, he that one. I'm gonna leave him alone.
Yeah, but most of the stuff that happened in the post office is not even the new people. It's the people that's been there for 20 years.
But this whole just opening the floodgates and letting anybody in is relatively new.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen is you're going to get a supervisor that is a certain way, or a manager that is a certain way. There's going to be a guy there within their 90 days that don't got shit to lose, and you're going to say the wrong thing to that person, and then there's going to be a stand-up talk at your station saying, well, at this station, such and such got their hands got hands put on them. You know what I mean? Like, you can't tell me that's not going to happen at some point.
Yeah, it will.
It will happen.
It will.
Probably in the next 5 years or so.
Yeah, so with that being said, I just wanted to know, how does being married to someone who works in the post office, how does that affect y'all goals together? Like, do y'all achieve goals faster, or?
I don't think the fact that we work for the same company, that's more of a mentality thing more so than like a place where you work, logistics. It's not, if she worked at an office building, our goals would still be the same. To, be smart with our money. When we don't have, her money is her money. My money is my money. And that's always been the case. We do have accounts where we share, but the lion's share of her money, I don't know how much money my wife has. Because I don't need to know. Because I know I would trust her, and she's responsible enough that I know that when it's time to pay bills, her half will be there. And vice versa.
Well, no, being so asking, do you feel that's in special situations? Like I said, prior to my situation now, I did it too. But the thing is also,
Do what?
the situation, how you say as far as financial wise with your wife, just doing certain things, being that
Do y'all share it? Do
Yeah,
y'all
I
have
said,
your own
yeah,
account?
I mean,
Or do you still have your own account?
I have my own individual account. She has her own individual account. We have our joint account. We do certain things too. So it's
Okay.
that being said, though, I'm saying that works for a lot of people. But also, the thing is too, I feel as though sometimes, like I said, I know people that work for somebody that's married to somebody, not married, but dating somebody in the post office.
Mhm.
Also, the fact that it could be other things where somebody could be jealous, basically, point too. And like I said, a lot of guys get jealous, basically. Meaning that the
How
fact
much
that
money they making individually?
individually wise,
And y'all both work for the company?
yeah, like somebody might be more than other, or the fact that just the fact that say
This, not to cut you off, there shouldn't be a jealousy because the simple fact that I make more than all y'all, but at some point y'all gonna make exactly what I make. So
Right.
it's not like I'm here and I'm privileged and y'all going to catch up to me. It's just going to take a matter of time. So there shouldn't be any jealousy, honestly, because it's like at some point we're going to be on the same playing field.
Right.
It's just going to take, it's just seniority.
Right.
That's all. And if they jealous, that's crazy.
Oh, that's not.
That's crazy.
I know who
Y'all
that's.
need to be together or somebody.
Yeah, especially when you know at some point I'm going to be right there with you.
Right.
So how do y'all plan for trips and vacations and stuff?
What's
That's a good one.
well,
Same drop days.
my situation is a little different now that I have my son 100% of the time, and he's still in high school. So we're trying to navigate through that. But before that, we was just having this argument. We was just having this
Debate.
spirited conversation. she wants to go to tropical places, and there are places in the continental United States that I want to see too. Like I've been to Mexico. I've been to Jamaica. I've been to these places, and it's like yeah, that's cool, but there's places in America that I want to see. Like I've never been to California.
Right.
Wow.
I've never been. I want to see the beaches in California.
Okay.
And so we were having that back and forth. But when the time, I don't think, like if she wants to go someplace, we're gonna go someplace. We just got to figure out logistically now with my son, like how can we do that? And because I'll be damned if I give him the opportunity. No, you got to do that behind my back, bro. You got to figure that out the same way I did. I was on some cat burglar, hanging outside of window panes and all that. Yeah. But I'm not gonna be like, yo, we're gonna be gone for a week. Have at it. So we gotta figure that out.
You trust your kid. You can be kidding like that, but
I trust. He's horny.
Teenage son, man.
Yeah, like he's not like he's 12. It's not like he's 12 or 10 or something like that.
Yeah,
So
Project X or Project X, huh?
and I don't want to necessarily have him go stay somewhere he doesn't want to stay. Like drop him off at his grandparents because I know he wouldn't want to be there. So it's a mixture of trusting them and just figuring out the right time.
Yeah.
That sounds like there's a lot of chores if you go there.
Yeah.
I mean, like when you're like, think about it. When you were 17, would you want to spend a week at your grandma's if you didn't have to? No, some people have.
I would have.
Some people have amazing relationship,
Oh, yeah.
and he has an amazing relationship with his grandparents. But I just don't think that he would want to. Like that would be his first choice to be there for a week when he feels like I'm old enough to stay home by myself. I'm like, yes, you are, but you also old enough to, get into some things that I don't want you getting into.
Yeah.
Man, I probably wouldn't even be in his job if I was living with my grandparents when I was a kid.
Hold on, I got a question for you and Brandon.
Oh god.
Which one of y'all between y'all wives have more seniority, and how does that affect y'all, relationships and conversations at home after work? Because one has more seniority than the other, and sometimes they like to.
I knew you were asking
They
that
be
question.
talking that to you. They be like, I got seniority in the crib.
Nah.
So, do they act like that?
I'll let our guest go first. I'll go ahead.
That's never been an issue with her because I have less than a year than her, so my seniority isn't that, it's not that much more than hers anyway. It's not like I'm making a certain amount and she's 4 steps behind me and nothing like that. We're pretty much
But you
on
do
the
get
same
to your
page.
step before her though, right?
Yes, I do.
Nah, I get the moms at see my situation is probably different because
So that question was asked just to tease him, basically.
yeah, basically
Okay, cool.
because my wife
Yeah.
because the fact of the matter is y'all all know my wife basically made regular before me, but I started the Postal before because
Right.
she's in the AO, so like she made regular I think in March of 2020 I think, and I made regular in December of 2020. So it's like the thing is she'll get her step before mine. Like last year, she got 3 weeks, and now I just finally got this. Prior yesterday, I got the 3 weeks now. So that stuff, it doesn't matter about seniority wise. But the thing is, her station more so because they have a small station, and the fact that she can get the ladder faster, and people are retiring, she can get more days that I can't get at our station because of the fact that we have people of your seniority or your seniority basically in front of me, or people that just do dumb stuff that's been there for 30 eons of years and won't move out the hell out the way to get to certain stuff too. So it's just like.
Sounds tricky.
It's that, but I mean, like you said, you know where you at for station wise, and like I said, I just gotta get in where I fit in with this.
So that's been an issue in your house?
No, it's an issue more so with the fact that she need a day off, but I can't get off because, like I said, we had a bigger station there. Like I said, her station.
So it's not her issue, it's yours.
It's both of our because of the fact that if she wants to do something, basically, she has to wait on me. the fact they get a day off. Or you know how our station they're late, we're giving back slip. She get hers right back away.
Oh, I can understand that. My wife was at a station where there are a lot of. First of all, it's a bigger station, but there's a lot more carriers ahead of her.
Yeah.
So for vacation and stuff like that, like summer vacations, there are times we've recently been able to align certain things, but there are times where I can pick a week that she can't get, but I'm okay with that.
Well, no, I'm okay with mine because the fact that man, I used to get the in June. I used to get that. Nobody takes June off, basically. Her birthday is around Juneteenth, so I used to get that off, or after I take it, basically. So like that's not that. It's more so planning other things. Like for my birthday, I don't care because my birthday's at the end of the month, end of the year, basically. I don't really plan too much of that anyway. So our anniversary is around that time too. So I'll plan stuff for that occasion. All right.
Oh,
I know I
your
know.
birthday just came?
Huh?
Your birthday just came?
No, my birthday's in December.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
It's
So how old are you now?
36, sir.
Why you looking at me like I was supposed to know that?
You'll be
I'm just saying.
37. No, you can't say that no more. You'll be
I'm
37 this year.
I just turned 36, sir. Last month. I ain't have a full month yet.
You right here with us, nigga.
Don't run down.
Hold up.
I'm
I
right
got
beside
I
35.
got a question for all y'all niggas that's married, including you.
Y'all old as hell.
Oh,
Oh,
this nigga.
you're 32. You're like, oh, God.
I got a question for all
Jesus
y'all married niggas. You know, because I ain't married. You know what I'm saying? And I know how I feel about my alone time. I love it. And everybody knows I said it on podcast plenty of times. I play the video game all day long.
First of all, Black is withholding some information. Okay? Black is not married, but I'm gonna just leave it at that. Yeah, I mean, he can give us some information.
What?
You never bring that up?
Who? Tish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He brought up
Oh,
news.
No, because you're talking in code over there. So
Yeah, because he wasn't gonna say nothing.
No, I brought it up
We
on the podcast.
on episode 29. You might have mentioned it maybe on 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah, maybe in the beginning. Way in the beginning. Way in the beginning.
Nah, because he can speak to cross-craft relationships. You know what I mean?
That is a great question, sir. Yeah.
Listen, let me finish my question.
All right,
Okay,
Let me finish my question. So, I get a lot of my, time to myself.
Right.
So, how precious is your alone time when you get it, no matter how small amount of time it is?
Well, let the senior married man go first.
Well, I'm a loner anyway, but the beautiful thing about the way my house is designed is I have a finished basement, which is pretty much my cave. So I can get alone time whenever I want.
Also has a lot of my artworks there. Follow Symbolic Creation.
Yeah.
I'll let y'all see them if I get a discount on my last picture.
I knew this
If not, then nah. You're not gonna-
Come on, we got 2 more married people. Let's go.
Go ahead. Let's go and see already orders,
No,
sir.
really,
No,
I
come
know
on,
he
see already
gonna say
orders.
something wild, but go ahead.
I mean, my alone time way it's set up basically is the fact that I get it, but the thing is we don't have the same drop date. We're apart. Like I said, we're a newer married couple. I'm only married for 3 years, so the thing is spending time like when I have my drop days, I'll do stuff with her. Yeah, but I think like Jason said, once more you establish stuff, and I get my family life and situation established more so, I have my time basically alone with that. But like I said, being the fact that we're newly married and think we're gonna do stuff too, and not having the same drop day, so it occasionally comes up to the point where okay, we want to do this. All right, you gotta sacrifice more stuff. So that's what it is, sacrifice.
Yeah, he's right. Sacrifice.
Oh man, that's
Look, am I wrong?
But,
am I wrong?
I think truly mastering life is taking situations that might work against you and making it work for you. So, being that I'm the person that's married with like young kids, you know what I mean? Because he doesn't have a child at all, so you know what I mean. He actually has an opportunity for a lot of a long time. But they're not, if he has a drop day and she's working. You know what I mean? His son is 15. He pretty much can send him on and go do his own thing. You know what I mean? While he's in the crib, he can go do him. When your kids are, under the age of 8, you know what I'm saying? Like you got to be a little more attentive. So what I've done to create that alone time for myself is I literally changed my sleeping habit. So the average person doesn't get up when I get up. I get up at like 4 in the morning. You know what I mean? So everybody is in bed still for like another 2.5 hours. You know what I mean? So we talking about from 4 a.m. to like, I leave the house probably at 7, heading to work. That's literally my alone time. I can get a lot done. You know what I mean? Like, and then what you understand, you grow to realize is living in this, this society, to get anywhere in life, to get further, you got to get up and get there before other people get there. You know what I mean?
Really
Whether it's
break it
figure out a
down.
plan, whether, you know what I mean, whatever you're trying to do. If you get up early enough, you can get it done. Because you're not really missing nothing. If you know what I mean, like you staying up late, ain't really nothing going on. You staying up at 12, 2, 3 in the morning.
What
Nothing
time do you
going
go
on.
to bed?
You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm
Like,
asking what time you go to bed.
like 9, 9:30. You know what I mean? Like, because like, what am I missing? Like, if I
Not
stay up
me.
at 12,
Not
11. You know what I'm saying? But you can get a lot more done. And then I feel like it's healthier too, like just on your body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so that's how I get my alone time. I just changed my sleeping habit, and then you know, I'm able to play the game or go in my home studio, record something like that. I gotta do. You know what I mean? Like, you know, work on a pod or something like that. I got time to do it because of that.
So another thing,
Y'all been married longer than me.
y'all married people.
No, I think you've been married longer than me.
Well, you've been with your wife longer than me. So I'm saying it's technically by like y'all both been with y'all
Well, how
wives.
long have you actually been married? We didn't even ask you that question.
Yeah.
2+.
Really?
Yeah, but how long you with your wife though? How long you actually guys been together?
Hold up, he didn't even tell us when he got married. We found out like when did you tell me? Like
Yeah, that's
half a year
crazy, yo. That's
No, I was
You
the
got
first.
married.
Actually, I was the, you know the funny thing. I was the first one that kind of figured out because I think because I just told you I just got married, and I think I just told you about it. You you said something like, yeah, I just got married too, but I was telling you about advice, like what I'm doing for City Hall, like I was telling you I did with certain things. He actually told me first.
No, because he said something about it, and I said, "You married?" He said, "Yeah, like 6 months." I was like, "Damn."
No, I'm saying he told me when I went to Hawaii and stuff like I was telling him about it. I'm like, I'm going to Hawaii, like.
No, I'm talking about when I actually found
Oh
out.
yeah,
for myself.
he told me.
So let me ask you this, like, because you guys have known each other for pretty much 18 years, like, the course of your career, like, what made you decide to make that step at that point?
Well,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Because most
man in
people
trouble.
don't-
Like this man in trouble, man.
my mentality has changed over the years, but I was like I said, I was in my 20s at one point, and I was somewhat of a hothead. So we were actually supposed to get married years ago,
Okay.
and then it was one of those things where we had a argument about something stupid. And it was like, you know, back we don't get, well, get my ring back. Here's your fucking ring.
Oh,
Then it was like one of those
Yeah,
things
whatever,
where
yeah.
it was one of those things where you know, we obviously pieced it up, but we didn't bring that up. And then it was like, it was just when I'm like, yo, we have a house. You know, I'm not going nowhere. You're not going nowhere. We're completely comfortable with each other. Like,
What are we doing?
and what are we doing? And I brought the subject back up, and then that's how it went down.
So who pieced it up first? Did you go to her? He was like, "Let's be."
Well, here's the thing. Well, no, actually, one of my flaws in my personality is that when and this is with females, not with males, because I really don't get into things with males. I don't think I care enough about males to get in.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, we don't.
Absolutely.
So when I'm with a woman or I care about a woman, you know, that's when you're at your most vulnerable. I have a thing where when I get upset, I shut down because I know how I can be. I know the things that can come out of my mouth, and I know that'll make the situation 10 times worse. So I'm the type that I don't want to say silent treatment, but I'm the type that I will while I'm upset, I will consciously not say anything to you because I don't want to make the situation worse. So there used to be a time where we would argue and then she would break the ice. But as we've gotten older and we've gotten to such a beautiful place that it doesn't even get to the point where we don't talk anymore. But like, we just had a beef about something stupid, and within an hour or two we were right back at it. That wouldn't have happened 10 years ago.
Wow.
10 years ago, that would have been a 3-day long just staring, like walking by each other in the hallway, like, I wish you would have said something to me.
Oh, that's I do similar.
So you would say
similar situations.
your wives aren't the kind of wives that will pretend like the argument didn't happen and bypass it and pretend like, you know, just start talking again and don't resolve the situation.
No, my wife is the type that, well, I think it depends on the situation. Like, if she feels that I've done something, then it's one of those things where when she calms down from whatever I said has offended her, then she'll start to talk. If I feel that she's done something that offend me, then it'll be the same thing. She'll say because I'll shut down, and it's a flaw that I know I have. I work on it. I think I've gotten better at it. I would have to ask her, but I think I know I've gotten better at it. So it's not something that, like I said, would normally take 4 or 5 days to squash. It takes a matter of hours.
With me, I'm the more rational. I'm gonna want to rational out because my wife is more shut down. Like we're opposite. Like so, there be times where I see stuff and like I kind of like we both kind of at the point where we hold stuff in and it's like, all right, if I got something my mama said, I'll say it to her and I'll lash out basically. And the thing is, we'll go through situations like, all right, cool. I know I can say something slick. She can too, and we'll get to a point where we're like, all right, enough's enough to the point too. It's like. As anybody, like you say, like I've been told by my parents, like I said, Jason and Rick can speak on it. Being married is a job, man. That's a 24/7, 365 job, basically. Like, that's the thing you gotta keep constantly working. I know you two don't want it. Like I told you before, it's acquired taste, sir. It is. But like I tell everybody, it's acquired taste. Like, and like I said, with me, I just find myself like you said, you gotta just figure out things that work for you. Wherever like you can feed off advice from each other, basically. But you gotta find something that works for you and your significant other. Like I said, even like say the situation with him, for me, like being a post office, like I said, things can happen more. The situation, you gotta find out what works for you, and that's what that being said.
So to wrap it up, what advice would you give people that are in the post office that might be dating somebody or they're thinking about, possibly taking that step? Like, what would you tell them if you could?
I would tell them that. It can be overwhelming if you're in the same, like, if you, how do you say it? It's 2 different ways you can look at it. Like, if you're in the same station, that makes things a little bit more, to me, harder, because, like I said earlier, there's no separation. It might fizzle out because of the fact that when it comes to relationships with anybody, there has to be a feeling of appreciation. If I see you constantly, I'm not going to appreciate you as much. Like you've ever been away from your wife or just somebody you like, and like just you in the middle of work, you're like, yeah, I miss such and such.
Yeah.
Like when you're when you're both at a station, that kind of takes away from that, because you're guaranteed to see them every day.
Like absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Right. That and that's an old saying, but there's some truth to it. There's some truth to every old saying, honestly. Yeah. But if you're at another station, you have to realize that at least you guys have something in common, in the sense that you know that this is not like any other job. So at least with y'all both being knowledgeable of that, then a lot of the things that are like they will understand that. Damn, we can't go out tonight because I got 3 hours. You know what I mean? They won't be upset because they're in that same situation. So it can work for you if you allow it to, but you just have to have the personality or the mindset to know that, this is not a regular job. If y'all can rock and have some kind of alone time or some kind of separation where you guys can appreciate each other, it's fine. It's just I don't think anybody, and that's not just the post office. If you work in the office, if you work at Home Depot, I don't think it's going to be challenging to be in the same building with this person, especially if you live with them. Now, if you don't live with them, there's a little more because you can go home and she can go home, and y'all guys won't have to see each other. Like, baby, like let's give ourselves a few days before we hook back up. Before you come over, or I come over. But if you live with each other, that's a whole different thing. You really have to, have some alone time. You have to, and you have to appreciate each other. But that's not just the post office thing. That's just a life thing. Once you lose your appreciation for your significant other, I think that's when things start to go downhill.
Well, there you have it, folks. You know what I mean? Got my man J. Will here. You know what I'm saying? Experienced carrier, married to another carrier. And you guys know what it's about. Being in the post office and in love at the same time. And probably both of them being in love with the job. Before we get out of here, as always, that our brothers had the last words.
And this is Black, and just because I say I'm not looking forward to possibly being married, I'm not saying it's not a beautiful thing for people to be married. Just for me, there are certain things in life. One, that I want to accomplish first, and two, certain things that happen in marriage that I particularly don't like. But these fellas, you know, they gave you their perspective on it and why they do it and why they've done it. And we out of here.
Speed more, like I said, you learn a lot from people. Like I say, like I learned a lot. I asked them a lot of questions, like work at the station. I asked them about certain things about just being married or advice. Period. You need stuff like that to feed all people just to get certain things. So, like I said, good information, always good information. Like Black said, we give you information on any topic and every topic we can with the post office. A-Round.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for your time, Jay.
No doubt.
And your Jules. Thank you, Brandon, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all married Jules.
Yeah.
Yeah, we out here.
And it's your engineer, man. You know, Rick Sean, never staying low key. You know what I'm saying? Thank you guys for always tuning in and rocking with us. If you like this episode, by all means, if you have not hit the subscribe button, please hit the subscribe button. Like and comment. If you are somebody that's married in the post office or somebody else who works in the post office, let us know what's up with y'all.
If you had a
Y'all both
divorce.
clerks, y'all both
Divorce
environmental technicians. Hey, maybe both of y'all are in management together.
Slide in here.
We would like to hear that.
So I divorced the
Let
post
us know,
office.
man. And as always,
Is
be
it?
safe out there. And if you're a carrier, be safe on the route.
It ain't never safe on the route.
It's a new day.